You mean you're Mary Jane Watson?
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot.
Mary Jane Watson is the most famous love interest for Spider-Man, at least Peter Parker Spider-Man. But in recent years, I've seen a lot of negative takes on the character, which I feel are often misinformed, labeling her as a bad love interest who hates Spider-Man, etc. Largely influenced by the less than amazing run on Spider-Man we've been getting since 2022, along with adaptations that have missed the mark on her character. So I wanted to make something explaining why myself and other fans quite like the character. Mary Jane started as a running gag in the comics, a girl that Aunt May constantly was trying to set Peter up with, the niece of a side character and Aunt May's best friend, Anna Watson, only being described as having a great personality. This bit was often used to play into the Peter and Betty relationship subplots, a notable example being issue number 25. MJ, Liz Allen, and Betty Brant all end up at the Parker home looking for Peter, while Flash stopped by to pick a fight. Though when Betty and Liz arrive inside, they're stunned at the sight of her. Though we never truly saw her until the two finally met in issue number 42, where we got the famous "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot" line. This introduced her party girl persona. Once she was upgraded from running gag to side character, we were shown a carefree character who never let things get her down. She and Peter had a few dates early on, but his focus was clearly more on Gwen Stacy, though it was clear MJ was still very much into Peter. Funnily enough, I think a lot of adaptations get their dynamic wrong. Peter is often presented as the one with a crush on MJ, who seems like an unattainable dream to him. But in the books, at least early on, Peter wasn't really interested in her, choosing to pursue girls he had met on his own, like Betty or Gwen, while MJ was the one to pursue him. But nonetheless, at this time, Peter and MJ being a couple really didn't seem like it was in the cards. Peter was with Gwen, and that didn't seem like it was changing anytime soon, until tragedy brought the two together.
Dude, you could totally do it.
Hey, you ain't Spider-Man. But if you've got a Dr. Pepper, you've got a chance to win a trip to New York City for a private Spider-Man party or thousands of other prizes. Look on specially marked packages for your chance to win instantly.
After Gwen's death, we finally saw another side of the carefree party girl. One willing to stay and comfort Peter after Gwen's death, even after he lashed out at her for her often carefree demeanor. While in tears, he tells her, "You, torn up? Don't make me laugh, Mary Jane. You wouldn't be sorry if your own mother died. What do you care about straights like me and Gwen? Go on, get out of here. I know how you hate sickbeds, and believe me, I wouldn't want to spoil your fun." In response, she opens the door to leave, but hesitates and ends the issue with the sound of a click. This marked a major change in her character and led to the start of her and Peter's relationship, this moment being paralleled in issue 149. After the idea of Peter continuing his relationship with Gwen with her clone is shot down, Peter finds MJ waiting in his apartment, ending with a familiar sound. Though this relationship was unfortunately short-lived, and walked back due to Marv Wolfman disagreeing with her recent character development, having her reject Peter's proposal in a fashion much more reflective of her earlier appearances. MJ was eventually written out of the book entirely for a few years, leaving New York to stay with her Aunt Anna in Florida. But what's important is what happened when she came back.
Tired of the same old fun and games? Welcome, Spider-Man X-Men, to the video game ride of your lives.
Wolverine, Spider-Man, Gambit, Cyclops.
Now on Genesis, the ultimate video game team. Are we having fun yet?
Shortly after Mary Jane returned to the book, we learned her biggest secret. After accidentally leading the Puma back to his Chelsea apartment, Peter has to force Mary Jane out of his apartment to fight him off. Though once he's returned home, she reveals to him that she knows he's Spider-Man, and has in fact known for years, before running out on him after seeing the Black Cat arrive through his window, only further confirming what she had already known. She even plans to leave New York to fully fade out of his life again. but this time she chooses not to run, and instead to explain things to Peter. In Amazing Spider-Man number 259, we're given Mary Jane's full backstory, explaining to Peter how her turbulent upbringing caused her to develop her carefree personality and a habit of running away from her problems, even running out on her sister when she needed her the most after their mother passed away, opting to go live with her Aunt Anna until she could find a place of her own. This retroactively makes this line from Peter tragically ironic, and adds so much to her character when you reread it with this knowledge. We see how it breaks her mask. We find that in a way, you could say, Peter and Mary Jane live parallel lives. The story featured in issue number 259 was further expanded on by the very writer who started her character growth, Jerry Conway, in the excellent Spider-Man Parallel Lives. In this special, we learn that the unspecified time that she learned Peter's secret was actually the origin. While trying to avoid May Parker grieving for her husband, she ends up looking out the window, and unintentionally sees Peter leave the Parker home as Spider-Man to chase down his uncle's killer. We also learn that Mary Jane admires Spider-Man and relates to him because he wears a mask too. This excellent one-shot really adds so much to the characters' relationship, and is a good example of how to do a retcon. It strengthens the relationships of these characters along with the past material. Unfortunately, more often than not, retcons in Spider-Man tend to harm past material in a vain attempt to replicate it. But it's that connection between Peter and MJ, how they reflect each other. That's why people love them as a couple. She understands him in a deep and personal way, and she doesn't need to be a superhero to do it. It's also why people want it back so badly. She herself can be just as interesting as Peter under the right writer. She even served as a deuteragonist in the book for years. People can have their point about how the marriage ages him, or how marrying a model is too big of a win, but none of that really matters to me. To me, the relationship with and marriage to Mary Jane represents what the book was always about: growth. I do not understand the desire to see Peter forever stuck in his youth. I love watching him grow. Like I said, it's what Spider-Man was originally about. And getting to see what was originally a gag character end up growing alongside him and eventually grow with him is incredible, and something I think has been largely lost in adaptations of the Mary Jane character. But I hope I've at least done a decent job of explaining why people love this character so much, and how she serves as a reflection of the book's title character.